I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
And I'm Ben.
Today we're talking about Superman Red Sun, one of my favorite Elseworlds titles. Not including, of course, epics like Dark Knight Strikes Again. No, Dark Knight Returns.
Yes.
Those
yeah.
mixed up.
Not the other.
Before we jump into this, I wanted to point out our sweet shirts that we're wearing. These are featured in our TeePublic store. You can go to this link right here, teepublic.com/stores/TV-little-house. If you don't put it in exactly like that, you won't get to the store. So just click the link in the description box below to get there. We got these shirts. This is an original design from TV Little House. It's the Black Mesa Head Crabs team.
It's really sweet.
It's pretty fun. Cool. Designed by Tiffany herself. And yeah, you can get them in many different colors. These are just from the store. We just picked out a couple of random amazing designs that are really featured from the store that are in some way related to comics or the stuff that we would just really enjoy. Ben, what do you have here?
I'm wearing a Jane Takes Vera Out on a Date shirt.
Yep.
Love it.
Nice.
And Ethan, you got a mashup there?
Yeah, I've got a ghost from Pac-Man being caught by a ghost trap from Ghostbusters.
Genius. Yeah. These are great, and not only that, but they're like high-quality shirts, and they're better than Hot Topic.
They're really comfy. This is a nice shirt.
Yeah, I like it too. It feels good, and
sizing is good.
Yeah, it's been through the wash, and it doesn't wear down. I like it a lot.
The quality is really good, and the print is done very well.
Yes.
So you wash it, it's still there really well.
It's true.
Yeah,
so if you want to let your nerd flag fly all over your body, you can go to our TeePublic store and pick up a cool shirt from one of the designs that we've picked out, and some of our originals, which we'll see more of in the future.
And more to come.
Oh yes, certainly. Anyway, with that plug out of the way, let's talk about this comic book. So,
we got
Superman Red Sun is just an alternate take on the Superman mythos, written by Mark Miller, who wrote Old Man Logan and Civil War. And the art is done by Dave Johnson and Andrew Robinson.
I'm not sure if it's because this has a Russian background to it, but this just reminds me of Hellboy in a way.
Because it's red?
Yeah, probably.
Well, and the cover art is kind of like old school.
Well, the Soviet thing, and just some of the art, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's blocky a little bit.
It is. At
least the cover art. The inside.
No, the inside's much more like contemporary comics.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. But the story is just really, really neat and interesting. It just takes the idea okay, let's say the Superman's rocket landed. I think the idea was that the rocket lands 12 hours earlier. So instead of landing in Kansas, it lands in
it rotated
in the Ukraine. And
now, did they block that out on the map and be like, "All right, Kansas is at this latitude"?
I mean, I don't know.
That'd be really funny.
I'm sure that no. The rocket lands in the Ukraine to a kindly old worker couple in 1938, and he of course is when he turns 12, his power starts to manifest. And it catches the attention of Stalin, and Stalin brings him in, and we don't waste any time with that crap. That's all backstory that he explains in passing.
Right.
That's pretty cool.
We kick things off during the height of the Cold War. Stalin's in charge of the Soviet Union, obviously, and Superman is his right-hand man. There's also another character named Pyotr something or other. It's one of Stalin's illegitimate bastard children.
Okay.
But he's also a Russian allegory character for a real Superman character named Pete Ross, who in the real continuity, he was born in Smallville. He and Clark knew each other. They were kind of friendly rivals a little bit.
Okay.
And
how could he be a rival with Superman?
Well, because when he was Clark, he was just a regular dude,
and he didn't let his powers out.
No, and he wouldn't let Pete Ross know who he was, and
so he had to intentionally let Pete Ross win sometimes.
Yeah, right. Well, they were more rivals for girls and stuff. It was more they were social rivals.
Okay.
Well, and then, eventually, Pete Ross finds out who he is eventually, and they become friends. But I think that was all undone with New 52.
I've never heard of him.
No, he's a rarely used character in pop culture.
Okay.
But he's a important character in the mythology Superman kind of. Okay. He's really important in this because he's the catalyst for a lot of shit that happens.
Okay.
Because obviously Stalin has a son in the form of Pyotr, and he is the heir apparent to the Empire. But he knows that Superman is probably going to take it.
Right, because he can't.
Yeah, and
No
he's
one
like,
can stop it.
yeah, and the idea here is that like the Soviet Union, instead of the Cold War, instead of it being like an arms race, they throw out the nuclear weapons almost immediately, and they're like,
It's all
okay,
superheroes?
it's superheroes.
Yeah, that's
cool.
awesome.
Well, like Superman is the nuclear deterrent, so they're like, there's nothing you can build that will beat Superman. And I think they call him Superman in the Soviet Union. Like, I think that's his name in that too, which makes sense.
Yeah,
But they say it's Superman.
Yeah, they call him like, exactly. So, like, okay, the other thing that's weird is that like there are different like Russian versions of characters, but they're also like just regular versions of the characters. Like Lois Lane, there's no Russian version of her.
Right.
But Lois Lane is an American reporter for the Daily Planet. She lives in Metropolis, and she's married to Lex Luther, a brilliant scientist who works for Star Labs. Now, Lex Luther...
That's great!
Yeah.
Because there's no Superman. Lex
Superman.
Luthor is nice.
Yeah, well, no.
No?
Lex Luthor's a okay.
Fuck.
But he isn't bald. Because
Oh, well, thank God.
Superman's the reason he's bald.
Really?
That's why Lex Luthor hates Superman.
Yeah, Superman stresses Lex out so much.
And he just pulls his own hair out. No, Lex Luthor was originally like a mad scientist character, and like some chemicals burn Lex Luthor's hair off, and he's permanently bald thanks to the intervention of Superman.
Okay.
So that's actually the reason why Lex Luthor hates Superman so much. Like that's why he started to. Like, curse you! I will hunt you to the ends of the earth because I have to wear hats when it's cold.
Okay.
And
It's the dumbest reason ever to
it's
hate
so
a character.
funny. No, I think it's pretty. I mean, listen, if you made me bald, I would hate you forever. Let's put it that way.
If I made you bald permanently.
Yeah, if your intervention caused me to be bald,
Look, I understand a grudge.
yeah, no, you'd be my arch nemesis.
So I'm sorry. Is this a Russian Batman? What
Yes.
the hell is happening?
Well, okay,
No, it's Russian Batman.
yeah, it's Batman. It was almost Batmankov. So
Is Mankov man in Russian?
I don't know. I
don't think so.
No research into Russian culture in this. So, no, Batman's actually created because, like, Pyotr was the head of the KGB, and this kindly worker couple was printing anti-Superman propaganda, and Pyotr and the KGB, like, found them and assassinated them in front of this 8-year-old boy.
Yeah.
And so he became... So Bruce Wayne grows up to be Batman, a terrorist anarchist who lives in, like... Soviet Russia?
Because there are so many bats in Russia.
There's bats in this.
Sure, there's bats in Russia.
They're probably really like.
Are you kidding me?
Big bats too, because they
Why
gotta be
wouldn't
like.
there be bats?
Because bats normally don't live in a frozen climate.
Batman has like a hat.
He's got one of those friggin' fur hats.
Yeah, I
That's
love.
how you know he's Russian.
This is one of my. Like, listen, I read this book years ago when it came out in like 2006, I guess,
Yeah.
and I hated it.
Really?
But then I reread it and I'm like, oh, this is brilliant.
Interesting.
And one of the things that I liked, no matter what, was Batman's design. And in the back, there's like some sketches and stuff, and the artist wrote something like, I took a lot of crap for Batman's hat. Because people were like, why would Batman wear a hat? And he's like, because Batman's chilly. Like,
Because he's cold.
Because it's cold.
Why do you
man.
wear a hat?
Yeah, like, wouldn't you wear a hat? It's like, he's wearing a cowl. It's like, it's built into the cowl.
And Wonder Woman's also there.
Wonder Woman is in there, and like, okay, so Lex Luthor and Lois Lane are married, and Lex Luthor's head of Star Labs, and the CIA goes to Luthor, and they're like, "You're a brilliant scientist. We need you to help us make like Superman deterrents."
Okay.
And so they hire Luthor to make this, and Luthor immediately becomes obsessed with defeating Superman. And he's also a douche husband who, like, at some point later on, like, he decides, okay, well, defeating Superman is my number one goal. I'm never gonna want to do anything else.
Especially be a husband to my wife.
So he sends like a letter to Lois Lane and says, like, our marriage will be postponed indefinitely. Like, not even postponed, put on hiatus. Like, we're not gonna be husband and wife. Like, I'm not gonna divorce you because like it looks bad, but don't expect me to like be your husband.
Right.
Until I kill Superman.
Right.
She's like, fine. You're a creep.
Does she then fall in love with Superman to like get him pissed off?
Well, okay, one of the like brilliant schemes that Luthor hatches is he hacks into Sputnik or Sputnik 2. And he aims it at Metropolis to see what Superman's going to do. Because Superman is, yes, a tool of the Soviet Empire, but like he also does good for the rest of the world. And Superman sees himself as a servant of mankind, but he's
Whoa. Look, this is Russia during the Cold War.
Yeah.
No Russians can do good,
Right.
according to Americans.
Yeah, well, that's how it looks here. And America looks like a bunch of assholes in this book.
Yeah, good. It's kind of how we acted.
Yeah, so Superman shows up in Metropolis, and he stops Sputnik from crashing into Metropolis and destroying it.
Okay.
But like it hits the Daily Planet globe
Oh.
on its way down, and like so the globe's gonna fall. So Superman catches it
And saves
Lois Lane,
Of
and
course.
she falls immediately in love with him. She's like, "Holy shit!" Superman doesn't want to be like Stalin's successor. He is more than happy to like just be an instrument of hope and good. He just wants to save people.
But Russian hope and good, or does he find that in America?
No, he finds it everywhere. He doesn't even go. He barely goes to America.
Oh, thank God.
It's just that like America was under threat, and then the rest of the time, like he's stopping like runaway trains and like asteroids and stuff. Like he's Superman. It's just that he's also not specifically American Superman. But the Russians all like want him to do more for Russia,
Right.
And they're like, you could solve a lot of problems if you just like took over. And Superman's like, no, that's not what I do. I'm not going to do that.
Well,
No,
you could
he wouldn't-
spread the Great Revolution across the globe.
Well, and that's the theme of the story. Like that's something that happens throughout the story because like.
He wouldn't solve problems if he took over. He would solve problems if he went everywhere and actually did everything.
Well, that's what he does.
He
That's
would
what he's
solve
doing right
the
now.
problems of the workers
he's-
not being able to rise up and overthrow the proletariat.
Yeah, well, he's solving. He's putting out fires, but he's not actually solving any
Right.
problems.
Exactly.
So-
That's what they want.
That's right.
Yeah,
So
they don't want him to solve
They
problems.
want him to spark. No, they want him to solve the problem.
Yep.
Of
Humanity.
of workers not controlling the means of production.
Stalin eventually, of course, dies. He's poisoned by cyanide, I believe.
Oh.
Superman doesn't want to take over, and he runs into his old like girlfriend, Lana, the Russian equivalent of Lana Lang.
Okay.
Lana Lankolovich, like, and her kids, who are not his kids, by the way.
Well, I mean,
she
not
eventually remarries, or not remarries, but she marries and has kids. But like, they're in the bread lines.
Okay.
And they haven't eaten for like. Actually, like I think the story is that she sold all of her earthly possessions to.
I thought you were going to say kids.
No.
She sold her kids for bread.
They sold everything that they had so they could buy a ticket to go to see Stalin's funeral because apparently everyone in Russia needed to attend.
Okay.
But she was too poor to actually like go, so she sold everything. And so she's like, "Well, now I live here and I have no fucking money or food."
Uh-huh.
So she's in the bread lines, and Superman's like, "No, like this is bullshit." These bread like no, you shouldn't. And he like goes up to like he like cuts the line. He's like, "Give this woman some bread. Like she has children." And then like the thousands of people in the line are like, "Yeah, we are too. Like we are kids and hungry and women and children and like workers and we need your help." And he's like, "You know what? Yeah, I will take over." So he like accepts the role of being whatever. During the story, the Amazonians from Themyscira send the emissary Wonder Woman to. They send her to America. They send her to they send her everywhere. And she goes to Moscow. She meets Superman, and she's like head over and heels in love with this guy.
Okay.
She's like, holy shit! Like this is a Superman, and he convinces her serving mankind is the best course of action. Blah blah blah. And she is convinced, mostly because she just wants to bone Superman, to become like a superhero, but
for Russia.
But for Russia. So, unlike in the comics when she does this for America, and she chooses the red, white, and blue. She joins Russia, and she's black and red. Cool new design.
That's a cool costume.
And
I'm sorry, black and red is just a better color scheme.
It is
than
a
white
really
and blue.
cool. Yeah, we had a rival high school that was just across the street. They had a way better color scheme than us.
Yeah.
We were orange and blue. They were black and red, and I was like, "Wow,
Damn it!
it's so cool looking." And they didn't do anything with it, by the way. So.
They should have been the Knights.
Yeah.
They should have been like the Scarlet Knights or the Black Knights or something.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Ugh.
So Superman and Wonder Woman are like a force to be reckoned with, and they like really start turning shit around.
Okay.
And it's through their efforts that like more countries are starting to fall under the under the Soviet Empire.
Okay.
And Superman is convinced that it's because like he's reasoning with people. He's like getting to them. Like he's getting through to them.
Right.
And I think he is, to be honest. Like because things in Russia are turning out okay.
Okay.
Because Russia didn't like spend themselves into a deficit and destroy their economy, and America just keeps building Superman bad guys like the Parasite and stuff like that to send. In fact, at one point, Luther clones Superman and sends like Superman 2. I think that's what he calls him.
Is that this guy?
Yeah, it's this
US?
gross monster.
Yeah.
In our Superman costume, but like with the old 30s shield, and it just says like US on it because he's not like a person, and that's their version of like a Bizarro.
Okay.
And I think there's like
And he also barely has hair, much like Lex Luthor.
yeah.
I mean, I
Lex
can't have
Luthor
hair.
has- No, Lex Luthor has like a full shock of red hair. He's fine.
Yeah.
Lex Luthor doesn't go
Oh, I'm
bald
sorry, he
until
doesn't
he
go
gets
bald.
old. Yeah.
Okay. I thought he still lost his hair for some reason.
Lex Luthor does eventually lose his hair when he gets old. Like, when he gets,
like a normal person.
but no,
loses
like,
hair when they get
it's
old.
funny because, like, he's not
still
that
lame
old when he loses his hair, so it's like,
Okay.
you would have lost your hair anyway, Lex. You're a dick for no reason.
Well,
So-
but he had hair during the most important time.
Oh, it's true. His prime, yeah.
Yeah,
So-
to get Lois Lane.
Yeah,
and then
Exactly.
abandon her.
She wouldn't want to be with a
With a
bald
bald
man.
guy, no. So,
That's hideous.
you jest, but Lex feels that way. So,
It's weird because like now bald's kind of like sexy.
yeah, right?
Yeah.
Is it? I didn't
I
realize.
don't know. Like Captain Picard, I think.
Well, he's, in the nerd scene, I guess, yeah.
You gotta have a little bit on the side.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
That makes you look distinguished.
Yeah, and it's gotta be gray.
Oh, yeah.
How is Lex Luthor not using kryptonite at all?
He hasn't figured it out yet, nor has he discovered it yet. He's not using it.
Really?
I
He
don't
discovers it really early in the other comics.
I know. I don't think that actually kryptonite even comes into play in this story.
What?
It's pretty cool. Lex loses a whole bunch of times, and so he's like, fuck this, and he kills all the scientists that he worked with at Star Labs, and he founds Lexco,
Why does he kill them?
because he's a lunatic. And because he
It's
doesn't
'cause they
want...
knew too much.
They knew too much, yeah. And, Jimmy Olsen is his CIA operative.
Look at Lex. He doesn't look intimidating at all. Him being bald really, like, sold that.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah,
so.
he just looks like a grumpy old man.
He looks like
Yeah,
Norman
he
Osborn,
is.
but kind of frumpy.
So, Jimmy Olsen, ace photographer for the other planet, in this universe is a CIA liaison
Why
to
would
Star
that
Labs.
be different?
I don't know, because he was a photographer before Superman showed up.
Yeah.
Because.
Alright.
Because whatever, because I needed this.
Fuck you, that's
Fuck
why.
you, because I wanted to use Jimmy Olsen in this capacity.
Exactly. Alright.
So Jimmy Olsen becomes like Lex's like right-hand man and buddy. Oh my god, like the Russians have like a museum built to Superman, and they have all like the failed Lex bot like experiments like in like
That's cool.
They're like, look at all the attempts the Americans have had on trying to bring down the Soviet Empire to no avail. And through the Soviets' rise to power, America starts to fall apart.
Okay. Because they keep spending all this money trying to kill Superman.
Yeah,
It doesn't
and
work.
because more countries are becoming members of the Soviet Union,
Right.
so America is losing allies and losing pull because capitalism is starting to like lose its chicness.
Okay.
Like no one's interested in capitalism towards the end. Eventually, Lex teams up with Pyotr, who's like, I lost my ability to be in charge, and Russia is in the hands of an alien who can never die. So great. Like that's not the lesson here.
Okay.
Like that's not what we are built on. Like you're a Superman. You're not a man. You're not a worker in any way. Like,
No, you actually don't represent the people.
no, exactly.
Right.
And so he and Batman are funded by Lex Luthor,
Okay.
and Batman is like, yeah, I'm going to take down Superman. And he figures out, because he's Batman, that Superman came from a planet with a red sun.
Okay.
And so he gets a whole bunch of like red UV like spotlights, and
Okay.
he captures Wonder Woman. Never mind how.
What?
Never mind how.
That's not...
Because it's like,
No.
how would he do that? I don't know.
superpowered.
But he kicks the shit out of her.
'Cause he's Batman.
Because he's Batman. Because no matter what version of Batman it is, he could beat anyone. Except for Superman in this story.
Right.
So Batman captures Wonder Woman, and he ties her up with her own lasso.
Oh.
So she can't break it.
Oh, snap.
I know. So, and interesting you should say that, because Superman is lured to save Wonder Woman.
Right.
And the red spotlights come on, and he's depowered.
Okay.
And he doesn't understand it, of course, and Batman just starts kicking the shit out of him. And Superman's like, What are you doing? How are you doing? He's like, because you're an idiot, and I'm Batman. And he, like, kicks Superman into, like a bunker that's also filled with red solar radiation.
jeez.
And he's like, you're going to stay here until you die. I'm not going to kill you, but...
Why would he
Wow.
die? I guess he'd starve.
Because he's a regular guy now.
Yeah.
So he kicks the shit out of him. And Superman is locked in the bunker. And Wonder Woman's still tied up. And he's like, Wonder Woman, you have to save us. I'm the only chance we have. You have to break the lasso. Just snap the lasso. And she's like, okay. And she snaps it. And then she saves, rescues Superman, snatches the light. Superman breaks out.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, when Superman gets to be in charge, and any force that he deals with that's bad,
Yeah.
he lobotomizes and turns into a Superman robot, where they have like a piece of like tech on their heads.
I
that,
was
like,
wondering what that was. I saw a couple.
yeah, they're
characters with
behavior
that.
inhibitor like
Oh.
devices.
Wow.
So they're all like Big Brother like Yeah,
That's fucked up.
it's
not cool.
crazy mad scientist shit. So Batman knows that's his future. And so when Wonder Woman broke the lasso, Batman swallowed an explosive. And he's like, I'm not going to become one of your robots.
Right.
And then he blows himself the fuck up.
Oh, wow.
And then when he turns to Wonder Woman, she is old. Apparently the lasso was keeping her, like, like her invincibility, like her immortality.
Oh.
Like...
The lasso is her power?
Yeah, like the lasso's like the source of her power.
Oh.
So
when she broke it,
she became
became
old.
old.
Yeah. So Wonder Woman goes back to Themyscira with
Okay.
a seething hatred and resentment for Superman.
Oh, no, but like...
Well, yeah, I know.
I mean, she was gonna die.
The other thing was, well, no,
Like,
Batman wasn't.
You don't think Batman was gonna kill her?
He wasn't going to kill Superman.
Oh. Well, he was gonna let Superman die.
Well, yeah, eventually. No, I think he. No. It was it was originally a nuclear fallout bunker, so it had food in there.
Oh.
So I think it was gonna be a
just gonna have
prisoner.
to stay there forever.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, Wonder Woman hates Superman, and Superman starts to like become more totalitarian as he goes. There's another situation that happens where Lex and Brainiac, like Brainiac shows up from space and he's like, nah, and he and Lex like team up and they're gonna, and Lex is like, okay, what you need to do, Brainiac, here's how you're gonna defeat Superman. You need to shrink and capture Moscow like you have all your other bottle cities.
Uh-huh.
Like if you shrink and capture Moscow, Superman was shrunk and captured. But Brainiac can't tell the difference between these cities, so he shrinks and captures Stalingrad instead.
Oh.
Whoops. And Superman...
So Brainiac, a beyond genius computer,
Yep.
can't tell the difference between these cities.
No, he's like, well, these are all, like, stupid alien cultures, and, like, y'all look the same to me. Superman defeats Brainiac. He doesn't kill Brainiac. Instead, he actually reprograms Brainiac, much like he reprograms all these people that he deals with, and uses Brainiac's artificial intelligence and his technology to further his agenda.
All right.
And
Which at this point is
just to unify the world under one Soviet government.
Okay.
And so the whole world, except for Chile and the United States of America, becomes a member of the Soviet Empire.
Why
Chile?
I don't know. That's who the United States trades with.
What do they have that we want?
I don't know. I busted my brain about it, looking it up. I was like, I have no fucking idea why Chile.
What is that? Yeah.
Like, why not Canada?
Why not anything?
Why not anybody? Like, why not the
Well,
UK?
no. Canada clearly goes over to Russia because they share the cold
That's
weather.
right. They have a clothing import-export thing.
okay.
Yeah.
They're like, look, you wear hats, we wear hats.
We really like
It's all
that Batman hat.
Right.
We want that fashion. So,
Hat.
like that hat. So, eventually, the whole world falls under communist control, except for the United States. It's a madhouse down there. Mm-hmm. And Lex Luther runs for president, with Jimmy Olsen as his running mate. Wins by a landslide.
That's awesome.
Of course.
And he immediately takes, like, his own totalitarian control of America and turns it into its own utopia. Like, Lex Luthor uses his brain and brilliance to, like, fix the economy and save everybody.
That's cool!
So Lex Luthor single-handedly almost saves America.
Okay.
From the brink.
Whoa, almost?
Well, almost single-handedly. Like, he needed people to help.
Oh, okay. I assumed it was like, he almost saves America. And then
Yeah.
he throws down the shitter.
Yeah, exactly. But the other thing is, of course, like, because Lois was always married to the job, she was always, like, a reporter, and she was always interested in, like, exposing the truth and blah, 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 and had preferred doing that to being his wife. Not that she was, like, divorced or anything, but because she would prefer that, like, that's the only business that Lex Luthor didn't save. Was the Daily Planet.
What?
So he, like, drove her out of it, because she became the editor-in-chief after Perry White died.
Okay.
Or quit.
Does she write unfavorable stories? About...
Yeah, that's Superman mostly.
Oh.
But she's also in love with him. So,
Right.
she
And
becomes...
deep down, Lex can just feel that.
Yeah, he knows. Because he doesn't give a fuck. So, oh god, so Lois becomes the First Lady, Lex is in charge of America, Superman is furthering his reach,
Right.
and he's also like, he has this whole thing where he's like, I don't take over. Like, these countries have to join the Empire willingly.
Right.
And they do. And he's like, and Brainiac, like Brainiac is like Superman's like intellectual equal, more or less, except Brainiac's a lot smarter than
Yeah,
Superman.
Superman's not smart.
No, but like it's the only person he can talk to without
Oh.
like running into trouble.
Okay.
So Brainiac is like, why don't you just go in and take America? And he's like, because they have to submit. Once it fails, then,
Right.
and then like after Lex takes over and like fixes everything, Brainiac's like, you missed your chance. Like now you have to go and take over.
Right.
And Superman's like, no, I'm not going to do that. But like it really does fuck up my plans here because like if America gets strong and Lex gets power, like who knows what could happen? Like he's wrong. He's fundamentally wrong. Capitalism and democracy doesn't work. Mm-hmm. Like it doesn't matter that Lex makes it work. It just doesn't. Okay. So. Lex is like, okay, now that I fixed America, I can finally kill Superman. And when he's president, he actually is given all access to all these secrets of America.
Okay.
And in fact, there's this thing where, like, in Roswell, New Mexico in 1947 or whatever, this alien crash landed named Abin Sur, and his lantern ring didn't go anywhere. So America had it the whole time. And Lex Luthor's like, cool. And oh God, like Hal Jordan was this pilot that went down during the Cold War, and he was kept by like the Viet Cong and like tortured. And
Oh, shit.
then,
Oh, no.
And eventually he's brought back, and he creates this crazy maze where he like this insane vision of his future where he's gonna like capture Soviets and like murder them in his own like private like murder world kind of thing. And they're like, great, you've got the willpower it needs to wield the lantern ring. And
What a terrible idea!
And they, by the way, they don't, you know, the lantern ring is only accessed if the Green Lantern recites the oath.
Uh-huh.
But Abin Sur's dead, and they only have like his ring. So they put like they figured out eventually after like 20 or 30 years, they figured out like that it's a voice activated code. So they ran it through like a word generator, and like in 2000 they figure like the right sequence of events takes place. So it's like in brightest day in blackest night. And they're like, finally, we figured it out. We cracked the code, and they've synthesized the lantern ring. So they give the main ring.
They synthesize it?
Yeah.
Oh,
so they give the main ring to Hal, and they give the Marine Corps the rest of the rings, and so the Green Lantern Marine Corps are going to launch an invasion against Superman.
Oh my god.
And Lois Lane is like the
impressive.
American emissary to Themyscira, and she appeals to Wonder Woman to like get the Amazonians to attack Superman.
Oh shit.
So it's all coming to a head. And Superman, of
That's
course,
cool.
just makes quick work of the Green Lantern Corps. Like, he just destroys them. And
That's impressive because, I mean, really, Green Lantern is incredibly powerful and can take on Superman.
yeah. So,
Yeah, but not these like fucking
Well, not the
amateurs.
amateurs.
no, yeah.
They're not actual lanterns.
It's true. Yeah, they're just Marines with, like, a ring they don't understand. With power they don't
ring.
understand or get. So, like, oh god. Another main point that I need to point out is the failure. Like, Superman has only failed one time in his eyes, and it's when he allowed Stalingrad to be shrunk
by
Brainiac.
Right.
He didn't fail when he let Batman die?
No, fuck Batman. He defeated him by letting him kill himself.
Yeah, but I saw
By the
someone-
way, when Batman dies, other people, like more members of the proletariat,
Yeah.
they put on bat costumes and
they
they become
tag things.
They become Batman.
Oh, that's cool.
So like, there's always this underground resistance of Batman
Yeah.
that like that he's like, oh, I gotta deal with these Bat people. So. But Superman's only source of failure for him, and it's a real sore spot for him, is the failure of not being able to resize and save his people in Stalingrad.
But he controls Brainiac. Why doesn't he just have him
Brainiac can't. Brainiac's like, I never thought about how to resize it. I just shrink them. No.
fair enough.
I made a shrinking technology. I didn't make a growing technology. That's
Do you know
crazy.
how hard that
Why would I
is?
bother?
Yeah, why would I bother? Also, who gives a fuck?
I don't think you understand. When I shrink stuff, I basically take stuff out.
Yeah.
I can't just put it back.
Yeah, what am I going to put it back? No, why would I do that? I would never do that.
That'd be ridiculous.
Yeah. So
You guys are 70% water. I take a whole lot of water out.
You just pour water on it, rehydrate.
yeah, exactly. Whoops, I killed them all. Oh my god! And like, I feel bad because like, there's this like Superman, like the bottle city of Stalingrad is like Superman is really distracted by all the shit going on, like by America being like becoming a superpower again and shit. And like some microbials like get into the bottle city and like they're like they look like huge horrible monsters and they're like destroying everything. And Superman's like, "Oh no, I'm sorry!" And they're like, "Where were you? Why couldn't you save us?" We eventually, like, the army that lived in Stalingrad, like, took it down, and they're like, why don't you say, like, you said you were going to protect us, and these big, horrible things that came. And Superman's like, oh, I'm so sorry, what am I doing? I'm the worst leader ever. And so he's like, you know what? That failure there reminds me I should just fuck. And, like, Brainiac is like, you should really just take over America. And he's like, you know what? Yeah, fuck America. I'm just going to go. And so, like, Superman kicks the shit out of the Green Lantern Corps and the Themyscirians and everything, and Superman's like ready to go and take over America, and like Lex Luthor crashes his he launches a rocket and crashes it into Brainiac's ship where Superman is operating from.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry. It's funnier than that. Superman eventually because what's the one thing that's missing from Superman's origin in this? It's the Fortress of Solitude.
Right.
So eventually he uses his technology, uses Brainiac's technology and the Kryptonian technology he has left over to build the Winter Fortress in Siberia, where he operates from.
That's cool.
And
I assumed it was going to be like in space. Like he was just orbiting.
No. Siberia, of course. It's like the Antarctic, only more horrible. So Superman's ready to launch his attack on America, and Lex Luthor launches his ship into Superman's room. And he looks like this, and he lights a cigarette like this arrogant douche, like, "Hey, yeah,
I'm here,
and I'm gonna fuck up your day." And then Brainiac's ship just takes him, just plugs into him and pulls him into the ship. And Superman and Lex is like, "Oh no!" And Superman's like, "Yeah, I mean, I got Brainiac. What are you gonna do?"
Right.
The idea here is Superman is "You can't beat me, Lex." And Lex is like, "Oh no, I'm a level 9 intellect, and I can outthink you." And Brainiac grabs Lex and pulls him into the heart of the ship to reprogram him and turn him into a Superman bot.
Oh no.
And Superman's like, "What do you do? I could have defeated him easily." And Brainiac's like, "No, he would have talked you into suicide in 14 minutes. I've already calculated.
What?
I'm a level 12 intellect and I know." And Superman's like, "Get the fuck out of here, Brainiac." So Superman goes to America.
No.
So Superman
No, I would have done that.
yeah. So that's
Trust me.
yeah. So Superman. So that's when Superman fights the Green Lantern Corps and the Themyscirians, and he's really
He doesn't fight Brainiac?
no, not yet. Brainiac's his partner.
Yeah.
They work together. So Superman goes to invade America. He lands on the White House lawn. The First Lady Lois Lane is there. Lois Luthor, sorry. And he's like, "You need to leave. You need to vacate because I'm going to annihilate Washington D.C. as a lesson for you people."
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "You're not going to do anything. I have the greatest weapon of all." And he's like, "Well, I'm using my X-ray vision." So then Superman reads the note that's in her pocket and immediately breaks down crying. And
Why?
it is revealed that on the note it just says, it's written by Lex Luthor. It says, "Why don't you put the whole world in a bottle, Superman?" Because it reminds him of his greatest fucking failure, but also that Superman is basically Brainiac. You're not saving anybody, you're not protecting anybody, you're deluding yourself.
Right.
You're taking the whole world and controlling it all by yourself. Sure, it's a whole world, it's not small, but you're everywhere at once, and you're just controlling everything.
Yeah.
And so he's like, "Oh my god."
So that's how Lex Luthor was going to convince
Superman to kill himself. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So
But
then,
if he has such a problem being Brainiac, why does he still ally with Brainiac?
well, because he doesn't know he's allied with Brainiac. He thinks he's defeated Brainiac and he's using Brainiac to further his cause. But in fact, Brainiac is like, "Okay, enough of this. I was aware of myself the whole fucking time,
Right.
and I'm taking everything." And Superman's like, "Oh no!" And then fucking
shit.
Lex turns Brainiac the fuck off, because Lex wasn't defeated by Brainiac. He's like, "Your mistake was bringing me into the heart of the ship, was really your issue there." Brainiac. So Lex turns Brainiac off, but Brainiac has a failsafe where all of Brainiac's ship is powered by miniature black holes.
Okay.
Yeah, it generates black holes and then uses the energy within them to power the
Sure.
ship.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Because energy can escape black holes, of course. That's what a black hole is. It's just a battery that pulls it in and then releases it whenever you
Well,
want.
Ben, they're small. They're small black holes. It's easy. Or Lex like, "Ooh, I didn't count on the black hole thing. Oops." And so Superman's like, "Don't worry, Lex," and he takes the ship and he goes into space to to save the Earth.
Oh.
And Lex kind of knew that was what Superman was going to do, because the black holes are all going to implode and blow up the ship, killing Superman.
Ah.
So Lex is like, "Yeah, I knew that's what was going to happen. So
Sure.
checkmate, Superman." So the ship explodes, and Lex Luthor's like, "Yay,
I won.
I won." And then, with no Superman, he then uses his influence and power to win the election again in 2000 by a 100.1% margin of error. Making a little fucking Bush Gore joke.
Uh-huh.
The polls were always going to be broken.
Right.
So Lex wins, and then he uses his intellect and power and Superman's technology from Russia to save all of the Earth. And so, like, Lex Luthor eventually, he, like, unifies the whole world under a new empire run by
Lextonia.
Run basically, it's like America, but it's Lex's influence, and the whole world is controlled by, like, wait, don't skip ahead, because this is the part I'm really looking forward to Ethan and your reaction to this. Because here we go. So, like, Lex saves the world, and the world is, and he prolongs people's lives. Like, people, humans can live longer.
Okay.
And so, like, Lex is like 200 years old, and he's on his deathbed. And they ask him, like, the reporter bots that are reporting on his death. They're like, "What's your greatest achievement?" And he's like, "Why? Defeating Superman, of course."
Of course.
And then he dies, and everyone has this fucking huge funeral for him. And in attendance is Clark Kent.
What?
Like, Superman never died in the explosion. But when he died, he viewed Earth and realized that Earth didn't need him.
Okay.
He's like, humans can handle it on their own. They don't need me anymore.
Okay.
So I can just
Because they have Lex.
Because they have Lex Luthor to, like, lead them. Well, Lex Luthor helped, like... Lex Luthor, of all people, taught humanity how to fend for itself.
Okay.
Like, he used all the technology and shit. I mean, you're going to use the tools that are available or left over. But Lex Luthor prolongs people's lives.
Yeah, but he's also a monster.
Well, like, yes, he starts as a monster.
But then he redeems himself.
But he redeems himself by saving the world, even though he kills Superman.
He really just wanted to kill Superman.
That's all he wanted to do. But it's funny, because after he kills Superman, then he's like, what's left? And it's like, saving the world. He is
It's just proof that if Lex Luthor in the regular continuity could just kill Superman, finally he would be able to do some good.
Right. But it would all be to serve his own ego anyway.
Right. It would just happen to be...
It would just also happen to be... It would be beneficial for the rest of us. But
Sure.
Superman as Clark Kent, who we've never seen before because he never needed to be Clark Kent. He was always Superman.
Right.
He, like, is in attendance, and, like, Lois sees him, and he's like, I was wondering if she'd see through my disguise, but she didn't. Despite the fact that she's a Pulitzer Prize-winning reporter.
Right.
Like, my thick-rimmed glasses and business suit fooled her.
I mean, even though he extends people's lives, they should be decrepit and, like, shrunken.
Oh, no, people are, but, like, Superman isn't because he's fucking Kryptonian. So that's the end of the story, right? That's what Mark Miller had. That's the Mark Miller ending.
Okay.
Mark Miller's like, man, like, that's a great ending. And he's like, but I need some kind of, like, thing with a punch. So then here's the ending that actually happens. After that...
Wait, that's not the end.
No, the rest of the end is...
there's still, like, 2 pages left.
There's still a few pages left.
There's room for a little more.
A little more, Sam. So, Superman, as it turns out...
Don't really reach.
Yeah.
Don't do too much stuff. And there's only, like, 2 pages
Yeah,
left.
like, no. You could, like, have more kids and then get on the boat. You can mention your wife dying. So, Superman, as it turns out, can, like, live forever or whatever.
Sure.
And so he's, like, chronicling what's happening. He's explaining what's happening.
If Superman can live forever, how come any Kryptonians ever
as long
die?
as he's
Because
under a
they're-
yellow sun.
Exactly.
he can live
No,
forever.
the solar radiation saves Superman. So, eventually, humanity evolves to the point where, you know, like, everything is futuristic and special and alien looking, and it's all inspired by Superman's technology.
Okay.
And millions of years go by, and the sun starts to change from its state now to a red giant. So, like, the sun turns into a red giant.
Okay.
And so now the Earth is bathed in red
Which would kill
radiation,
everyone
which
on Earth.
Well, it doesn't, because humanity
they've
has...
evolved.
They've evolved, and they're also using technology to create...
Darwinism.
And humanity has moved on from a full last name to, like, more of like a placeholder. So the Luthors become the House of L instead of Luthor. And
Okay.
so this brilliant scientist, Jor-El, and his wife find that the planet Earth is going, which has of course changed its name,
It's going to explode.
is going to explode, and so they put their only infant son, Kal-El, Luthor, into their time-traveling spacecraft, and they send it to the past, millions of years in the past, in fact, to help bring about this utopia that they had enjoyed so well. And so,
Interesting.
at the end, the story ends in 1938 in the Ukraine, and this kindly couple discovers the spacecraft with Superman in it, thus fulfilling this this predestination prophecy.
What? So the only way that Superman can be born in the Ukraine is if he's already born in the Ukraine,
Yes.
goes into the future,
Yep.
and then saves the world
It's like
so that this
Terminator.
alternate Kryptonian future of Earth, which isn't Earth anymore,
Nope, it's Krypton, yeah.
It's Krypton. Sends a time-traveling baby into the past.
Yep, to do it all over
This is
again.
why there's no kryptonite, because there's no krypton. in this
Exactly.
universe.
There's no Krypton. It's all Earth. So anyway,
That's really impressive.
yeah. So Mark Miller didn't.
The
come
rest
up
of
with
that ending is shit, but the fact that there's no krypton,
Yeah, because it's Earth, that's
kryptonite,
cool.
That's
the
interesting.
friggin'
kryptonite.
weird.
So Mark Miller's like, man, like I need an ending. So he calls his buddy Grant Morrison. And Grant Morrison tells him, "Why don't you
might
make
have
it?"
known.
Exactly. There's like, why don't you make it so that it's like a time travel thing, and like Superman becomes the creator of Krypton? You know.
God damn it! Fuck you, Grant Morrison.
So Grant Morrison has a little hand in this as well.
Grant Morrison ruins the end of this book.
No, it's a neat
it's
idea.
Fine. It's just what?
It's just like, what? Why?
I don't understand their motivation for sending it back. How do they know that?
That it's not Krypton? Like, how do they
Wait
know?
a minute. Who do they even send back?
They send back
Kal-El.
their baby Superman.
Why is their baby super powered?
No, he's not superpowered yet. Remember, like, the yellow solar radiation will turn him into Superman.
Oh, so everyone born in the future could potentially become a super. Okay.
Wait, so they,
they went back
know
in time.
that the history of the planet
Is
was that it
actually
used to
Earth.
be in a yellow sun, so
Yeah,
if
they
they send
know
him
that.
back, he'll be superpowered.
That's right.
And they
And they
only
know that-
send back him.
Yeah.
They
know
sent
that
back no one
millions
else.
of years ago, somebody landed in 1938.
Yep, well-
a date scheme that they won't be
Even
using.
using, yeah.
Or no, like
Yeah.
no.
That's what they do, yeah.
And what tells them that like they have to send him back?
The
in
history
order to
books,
do
I
that?
guess. You know, Superman knows that his parents were Jor-El and whatever.
Oh, so like,
Wait,
my
I'm
name's
Jor-El. That means that I'm going to have a kid.
Oh.
I got to send him back in time. Oh, that means that I'm going to die.
I'm the
On
only
my planet.
Jor-El
Like, my
ever.
planet's gonna blow up.
There's never been a single other Jor-El in the history
Well,
of
Jor-El
Jor-El.
married to his wife. Superman Red Sun.
cool.
Cool story.
I would have found it
Cool
much
story, bro.
better.
Oh, right.
Much better had they decided to send the planet back and like he instead lands in America.
Oh, right. Like
Making it the future of the actual
yeah,
continuity?
making it real Superman. That'd be kind of neat.
Because then it would actually make sense as to why they could
thought that's where
find
you were going.
I
kryptonite.
thought that's where it was going to. By the way, when I was
you find
reading
out,
this,
like, oh, this wasn't even Earth. This was Krypton.
because also like the House of L in pre-Flashpoint continuity and probably in New 52 continuity, Superman's name is Kal-El, Kal hyphen EL. But there's also like other Superman, like Earth 2 Superman or whatever, and like they're from the House of L, like Kal hyphen L. So when we meet Jor-El, which I love that it stands for Luthor. I thought maybe that's what we were going with this.
Yeah.
That, like it was like another, like an influential and important version of Superman, but not the one from the Prime continuity.
Right.
Like I thought that's where they were going with this. And I'm sure if Morrison had been like the editor of the book, probably. But like no, as a result, it just
couldn't quite pull that
It just
off.
becomes a Mobius strip where like it'll never fucking end because it's
Right.
like they'll always.
Time is a closed loop.
Well,
Like,
closed,
you can't.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a
It's Terminator. It's Terminator 1.
Yeah, it's Terminator 1.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Click the like and subscribe if you like this episode, and don't forget to click the same station here to see every episode of Back Issues we've ever seen. And we're done.
Yeah.
So yeah, hey, check out our TeePublic store to get rad shirts like these, and we'll have more in store for you guys like that in the future.
Oh, it's
and
store.
yeah, he said it. We have fun.
Yeah.
Bye.
It's so funny.
Do you want to plug Weekly Poll?
No.
Okay.
And hey, you want to see more stuff like this, but for some of our friends in the Weekly Poll, go to theweeklypoll.net. You can see Comic Story and Marvel Explained, Comic Drake, all kinds of people and stuff. We got a great message board, the Weekly Board, where so many members of our community are collaborating, chatting it up, and just generally chatting about comics. It's really great.
Maybe one of us will even stop by.
We do often. We do pop in. It's really cool.
Yep.
Weeklypoll.net. Bye.
Not done ninja.
It's not.
No. Oh.
Really?
I would invent new technologies to destroy you.
Are you talking about like no eyebrows too?
Just my hair.
Just the hair.
No, he has eyebrows.
I screw it then.
What?
If you made me bald, and maybe this speaks to me, I would not like hate you
How
forever.
little
I would be
regard
upset, and then I'd be
Ben
like,
has for his hair.
That's cool.
whoa. Let's not go that far.
Yeah.
Hates his hair. Like, I don't
He
even
loves
care
his
about
hair.
him
He
at
just
all.
yeah.
It's
That's
just
fair.
friendship trumps.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, but what kind of
Certain-
friend
certain-
would
burn my hair off.
Certain
Yeah.
friends, I guess. Well, not on purpose.
No, it wasn't his reason. Like Superman didn't mean to do it either, but you know.